Space. It's big, mind-boggling to wrap your head around. Just huge swathes of emptiness scattered with clumps of dust, stars, black holes, radiation, and more emptiness. But there is this tiny bit from just 100 kilometers up that's vital to how we live. That's where satellites operate. On October 4th, 1957, the Soviet Union launched Sputnik, the first man-made satellite, shocking the world and beginning the space age. Sputnik was just a small shiny aluminum alloy sphere satellite, about the size of a beach ball. Its radio transmitter generated radio signals heard around the world.
You are hearing the actual signals transmitted by the Earth-circling satellite, one of the great scientific feats of the age.
The simplest satellite opened up the space to thousands more satellites, owned by different countries and serve many purposes. Satellites are extremely useful. They assist with global communications, GPS navigation, and even the gathering of weather information. Space. We were more reliant on it than ever. But the more we shove more satellites up there, the more clogged it gets. We have been sending satellites to space for over 60 years. So far, we have saved over 11,000 satellites in Earth's orbit. Out of these, 3,272 satellites are currently active. The rest are inactively floating in our orbit. The number of satellites has increased drastically over the past few years. They end up producing a significant amount of space junk. At this time, the Earth is being orbited by over 128 million objects larger than a millimeter in diameter. These objects range from inactive satellites, defunct spacecraft, empty rocket fuel tanks, to flakes of paint. Since both the debris and spacecraft are traveling at extremely high speeds, an impact of even a tiny piece of space debris with a spacecraft could create big problems. Collision happens. Big bangs. Satellites crowding into each other 17,000 miles per hour, causing fragmentation, space junk, space waste, space pollution, space trash, debris, defunct artificial objects floating around in Earth's orbit. This space debris is dangerous due to the possibility of colliding with working satellites and even the International Space Station, ISS. Collisions between high-speed objects in orbit can create thousands of pieces of debris. This could result in a chain reaction where more and more objects collide and create new space junk in the process, to the point where Earth's orbit becomes unusable. The Kessler syndrome, coined by NASA scientist Donald Kessler, described this phenomenon. Now, the low Earth's orbit is about to become more crowded. Over the next few decades, Elon Musk's SpaceX is hoping to send a constellation of 42,000 satellites. Elon Musk takes as current satellites, around 1,300 of them in the orbit, is already causing disturbance to optical and radio astronomy activities on Earth. Imagine the impacts to astronomy and the night sky if there are tens of thousands of microsatellites in the orbit. The constellation of microsatellites in the low orbit are blocking the view of telescopes. These satellites are so close and reflective. Thus, they run the risk of filling the night sky with reflection. When the satellites cross into the view of observatories, it can ruin the image. Considering that they will be in very high numbers, this could impact conditions for all astronomers to observe, discover, and analyze the cosmos from the surface of the Earth, and even hamper of ability to detect hazardous asteroids. Therefore, we need to reduce the growth of space debris by ensuring that space systems are designed, operated, and disposed of in a manner that prevents them from generating debris throughout their orbital lifetime and ensures sustainable space utilization. This includes removing dead satellites from orbit and dragging them back to the atmosphere, where they will burn up. Ways we could do this include using a harpoon to grab a satellite, catching it in a huge net, using magnets to grab it, or even firing lasers to heat up the satellite, increasing the atmospheric drag so that it falls out of orbit. New satellites need to be designed to deorbit naturally or burn up in Earth's atmosphere after certain years of service. If nothing changes and the amount of debris continues to grow, they will pose a risk to future space sustainability. It's only a matter of time before more collisions occur, making it nearly impossible to clean up the low Earth's orbit. Because space is for everyone, we need to take care of it, make it sustainable for future generations, and take responsibility. Now, space, it's big.